Hey now, guys, Rob here from Rob's School of Music. In today's episode, I'm having a conversation with the owners of Java Love Organic Coffee Roasters. These incredible women own multiple coffee shops up in the Catskills, Montclair, New Jersey, and in a beautiful shop right here in Suffern, New York, where our school is located. Stick around for a great interview. All right, how's everyone doing? My name is Rob from Rob's School of Music, and today on the podcast live stream, we're going to be talking to two incredible women who make fantastic coffee, Jody and Christine from Java Love. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, Rob.
Hi. Awesome. So basically, my story here is, we're a music school, and once COVID hit, we kind of just pivoted and moved everything online to try and, keep everyone safe. And over the course of, nearly a year of this, it's been so fascinating and inspiring to see other businesses, adapting and evolving and pivoting and just creating, new versions of themselves. So, you guys were here in Suffern. That location was not even a year, right? Maybe a little over a year when everything hit the fan. So still killing it. I see every day. I see the line out in front. So that's awesome. How did you get started? How did you guys meet and just, what's the story?
That's a great question.
I was just going to say, Joe, do you want to answer this one? Okay.
Well, it started 10 years ago. We started in the Catskills in Sullivan County, and we wanted to be part of the economic development of the area. And we had this romantic notion of, let's start a little business.
It was not supposed to be successful, by the way. So
there was no plan.
Yeah, don't go into a bank and say, hey, we're thinking about opening a business, but we don't think it's going to be successful. And then look. So so we purchased an existing coffee company, and part of us purchasing them was that they had to train us. So both Jody and I were trained to roast coffee, right, Jode?
It was a long time ago, and from that time, I have not been allowed to touch the equipment since.
So I started roasting the coffee, and we were just a little 600 square foot room with our roaster and enough room for one or two customers, maybe. So we would always say we have a line out the door because there's more than two customers in the shop. And then it turned out we were pretty good at this coffee roasting thing. And we were both, I'm a journalist and Jody's a child psychologist. So we kind of joke that, of course, we would open a coffee roasting company.
It's a natural progression.
Yes, of course.
Wow.
So here we are, 10 years later.
Yeah, we had this little shop, and people are like, you're opening an organic coffee roasting company on this little lake in Conyonga Lake in Sullivan County. We're like, why not? And people really liked the coffee, which was really unexpected. And from that time, we've had a philosophy that sort of Christine came up with. I'm sort of the pros and cons, like, let's make a list. What are we doing? And I said to Christine, I'm like, well, how are we going to know, like, what we're supposed to do with this company? And she said, well, we're going to keep moving forward until we can't anymore.
I like that.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because that doesn't look like a list to me, but okay.
And she will, every once in a while, I'll still hear, just keep stepping forward, just keep stepping forward. And it's certainly not, I think we've certainly become better business people through the years, and So we've built that muscle, but I think we also believe in, we're very blessed, and we believe in abundance, and we really have never come to anything, any choice in our company from a place of scarcity, or what if this doesn't work, or we just, it's like, well, let's see if it will work, and if it will work, what will it look like? Because it may not look like the last two things we tried and maybe succeeded in. It's going to look something, it's going to look completely different. So yeah.
That's very cool. You know, I tell you, being my background is prior to having the music school, I toured as a musician. That's what I did. And even up until COVID hit, I was still gigging, you know, 3 to 5 nights a week. And one of our favorite things always to do when we were out on the road is find the small local coffee shop, because that's where you're going to find the most real people, the coolest people. If you want to feel the energy of a town, it's usually kept in the coffee shop. You know?
Yeah.
And when you guys opened up here in Suffern, I mean, Saturday mornings, that's where I got my breakfast every day. That was like my escape to kind of get away from the school and the chaos, because Saturday is a pretty crazy day here. And like, I'd have my front desk person, I'd be like, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. And I come back an hour later, nice and full, ready for a nap, but then about the coffee to recharge me. And just, you know, the cold, I haven't been to the other locations, but if they're anything like what you've done here, it's just, you've created something really, really incredible.
Thank you.
How did, yeah, totally. Thank you for bringing it into Suffern, you know, into the community here. We needed something like that here. And it's definitely, you know, what you did with that building is beautiful. And now you have the outdoor seating, which is gorgeous, which I recommend everyone to go check out. How did you move from the Catskills to Montclair?
That's a good question. We actually lived in New Jersey.
Okay.
And sort of reverse commuted to the Catskills half the time. We're like, well, it sort of worked there, so let's try it here. So we had 2 shops in Montclair, and our roastery was up in the Catskills, and we really needed to bring the roaster more equidistant to the shops, and did a lot of research and worked with the people in Rockland County, and they wanted to show us, you know, that spot across from the bank that they own, like in the corner. I think there's a fitness place there now.
Yeah.
But we were looking across the street, you know, the mayor was there, you know, the small town. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to work for us, but what's going on with this building across the street? And Ari, one of our landlords and one of the architects in town, happened to be standing there on the corner. And he's like, well, funny you should mention it, because we just bought that building. So it was very serendipitous. And, you know, you're right. The hub of community happens in a coffee shop. And, you know, we also are very grateful that we have an amazing team, and we have a come as you are authentic, you know, come as your authentic self. They're like, people come in from the interview on an interview and they're like, what about my tattoos? And like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not comfortable, it's not going to be a comfortable, you know, place to be. So one of the challenges we've faced through COVID, you know, is how do we create this community when no one can really come inside? Because at 25% capacity, that's like 2 people for us.
Yeah. And I think like Jody said, the come as you are, and that I think, because that is who our team is, and I think that feeling spreads to the people who come to visit the shop and get coffee or breakfast. And you know, there's just, it is fun and joyful and happy, and that's what it should be. I mean, it shouldn't be, you know, a person getting you a cup of coffee in the morning shouldn't be angst ridden and angry about what's like it coffee is a really wonderful thing. I mean, every community, you know, not just the community that we get to serve and share our coffee with, but the coffee community as a whole is an amazing community and gracious, and just lucky to be a part of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to pick apart the whole process of that, but you said a word that I wrote it down. If you ever see me looking down, I'm scribbling because I have insane ADD. So if something triggers me, if I don't write it down, it's gone as quick as it got in there. But authentic, that's
Mhm.
something that you know, again, having a music school, there are many other music schools in Rockland County. I'm not spoiling a secret. Anyone can find them. A handful of them are corporate businesses, franchises. And I have a friend who actually works the SEO for one of them at their headquarters. And they literally train their employees to use whatever cool hip word is occurring at the time. So, you know, like you know, what's the T? Or I'm 38 years old. It sounds like Today's word. Like, and for me, like if I say dude, like that's just how I talk. I've been talking that way since I'm a kid. But they're training the staff at some of these corporate music schools to act a particular way. And I feel like if you walk
Wow.
into, you know, a chain corporate coffee store with a green logo, sometimes it feels that way too, where it's a forced vibe. Whereas, you know, your staff is always incredibly friendly, and you know, you just want to talk to them. That, you know, they're just like fun people. The tattoos, different hair, different piercings. It's like, yeah, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I love that. That's real, and that's so authentic. So it's working. That's I notice it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, and we talk about this a lot, you know, what makes us different. You can get coffee anywhere, you know, and one of the things that continues to stand out is that, you know, connection. Like we're so once removed, you know, with technology, and now especially with COVID, you know, everyone is so isolated that that connection and that authentic connection is so important. And I think it really makes your day when you step up to the door and there's someone there that knows you, knows your name. Like they may
Mhm.
even have a drink ready for you. Sometimes our baristas have the drink ready and the person's like, oh, I feel bad, but I wanted to try something different today. You know, everyone's really proud that they got the drink right, but they're like, oh, you know, so that's really it's a core value, you know, and coffee is the perfect vehicle to bring that all together.
Definitely. Definitely. What is the process like when you roast the beans?
Mhm.
What is coffee forgive my ignorance, but how do you get it? And then when you roast it, and then how does it get from the plant to my belly?
No, it's fine. I think, you know, I think like Jody just said that, you know, uh, I think a lot of people are, and I don't think this has to do with COVID. I think it has to do with our culture as a whole is we're pretty removed from our food sources and our, you know, where does our food come from, and why is that important to know? And I think you know, coffee, you know, people will, you know, kind of buck and why am I paying $2 for a cup of coffee? And it's like, well, if we paid what it should cost, because based on the number of people and the man hours to make one cup of coffee, it would cost you about $12. So, you know, the cost of coffee is really actually very reasonable. So we get our coffee in it comes as green beans or seeds, basically in 150-pound bags. So we have about 3,000 pounds of beans delivered every other week, and we roast about 1,000 to 1,300 pounds a week.
Wow.
So, and we roast it 25 pounds at a time. We have a 12-kilo roaster, so it's a very small process. The green beans, and they're from every growing region around the world. So Central America, South America, Sumatra, Africa. And then we have a specific profile for each type of bean. And each roast takes about 14 to 16 minutes. And we roast them anywhere to 425, 26 degrees up to 470 degrees. So, and that difference in temperature is what gives us the different flavor profiles and why the beans look. Some beans have oil, some beans don't. So I always say roasting. It's a really beautiful dance between art and science.
I like that a lot. That is
It's wonderful. It's so fun. Yeah.
How do you I'm gonna get nerdy here, so forgive me, but we're gonna ride a wave. So how do you like different regions, the beans taste different from different places? Mm-hmm. Can you, if you're trying to, can you blend beans to come up with different things?
Yeah. So we I mean, that's it. So, you know, and I'll get just as nerdy back, Rob. Here we go. So when you blend beans, so a blend is 2 or more beans pulled together. And you can either blend beans to accentuate qualities. So you can blend a smoky dark roasted bean with like a really earthy big flavored bean, and you just have this like monster flavor, or you blend to balance. So if you have this really big earthy bean and you blend it with a really sweet kind of mellow bean, they're going to balance each other out and make, you know, kind of this nice balanced coffee. I think the best example, Jody knows which one I'm going to use, don't you, Jode? Yes. Our Badass Brew, which is, I think is our top seller, and I don't know if it's because of the name or because of the blend itself, but it's a 4-bean blend, and there are 2 kind of bigger, bold beans and 2 lighter beans. It took me about 3 months to come up with this blend. So it starts off like really bold. It's just like this huge mouthful, and then it just balances out into this really soft coffee. So you can drink it black. You don't have to add sugar or milk or anything. And so you can drink black coffee and feel like a badass. So that is, and it was named after an experience with a young woman in Soho who we were at an event, and she came up and ordered a 10-ounce coffee, and she pulls 6 Splenda out of her purse. I'm like, no. And I'm not, I mean, I wasn't trying to be preachy, but it was like, oh, 1, you're going to kill yourself. 2, just give it a shot. And so I talked her into trying it black, because she said, it's just, coffee's bitter. I said, no, coffee should not be bitter. I said, just try it black. If you don't like it, let's add some milk. And then if you don't like it, throw all the Splenda you want in it. So she took a sip, and it was in this old warehouse, and she screams at the top of her lungs, I am a badass. I am drinking black coffee. Like, screams it. And we just cracked up. And so for like the next half hour, you could hear her in different parts of this warehouse still screaming that she was a badass drinking black coffee. So when she came back for a second cup, I told her I was going to make her own blend. When I finally got it, I sent her and her mom a couple bags of Badass. So that's her brew.
I love that. That's so cool. Like,
it was fun.
I am a wine drinker. I have In Vino Veritas tattooed across my chest. So yeah.
Love that.
but the blending aspect of that, I love that. And I've been to Napa a bunch of times, used to own a restaurant. I didn't realize coffee works the same way. So you're in essence making proprietary blends that are
Mhm.
something you've created something. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
And
Wow.
we're gonna have to talk because I'm also a certified sommelier. So
Yeah.
we'll have some fun.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh my God. I'm all
I don't have
distracted.
I don't have a tattoo though, so
That's okay. That's a whole story. um, wow, I'm just like, that totally took me off my track. What about your branding is so on point. I remember when the Suffern location first opened, you were at the street fair, you were giving out the palm cards and the stickers and you're with the stamp on the so you don't burn your hand sleeve and on the paper bags. Like, that's something within the school. Like I had my logo's everywhere. You know, I introduce everybody. Hey now, Rob from Rob School of Music. Like, it's just, it vomits. I don't even say the Rob's they're from. It's just, hey now, Rob School of Music. It's absurd. But whose idea was it? How'd you come up with the logo and just, really just putting so much attention to that detail?
When we first started, because we were up in the Catskills, we were right down the street from Bethel Woods, the original site of 1969 Woodstock. So we wanted our name to somehow reflect sort of the love and the grooviness of the area and sort of hint towards that a little bit. But we also were very involved with the agriculture of the area. So we were at farmers markets. We sourced a lot of farm fresh food from the local farmers and local artisans. And we loved, I think we were at a farm market and someone had like old milk bottles. And they used to have these really cool designs on them, right, Christine?
like the little paper tops. They were the paper tops that came on top of a glass milk bottle.
Oh,
And
wow.
if you search like cardboard milk caps, the art and I think, I mean, so it goes back to like the 40s and 50s. So it's this very kind of block printy type art. And so that's kind of what we were motivated to kind of try to replicate a little bit.
I think only we would know that. We're
Yeah.
but that was the original motivation. And, since then, we've always prioritized, sustainability and care for the environment and really trying to hook in to as many local resources as possible. So part of the branding, we brought a lot of wood and reclaimed wood and barn wood from the Catskills to all of our shops. So, sort of reusing materials. And we also have a lot of practices in the shop for sustainability, like compostable cups and bringing a reusable jar for a discount on your coffee beans. We used to do travel mug, the discount, but in COVID, we're back to paper right now. But we'll get back to it. And that also goes to how we source our green beans from farms that we know the farming practices that they're doing and that they're working with respect to the farmers and the land, giving the farmers proper wages and health care. So it runs deep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think I may get a little mushy here. Try not to tear up, Rob. I think
it happens once a month, so
okay.
I'm ready.
It was. I mean, I think it's when we started the company again 10 years ago, and we are so blessed to be where we are. Java Love was like, it was one name, and the Java part is super important. The coffee part is hugely important. That's a core. But I feel like the love part is kind of, the coffee is the vehicle for us to get to do the love part. And the love part is giving back and being sustainable. And so it just kind of became the vehicle for us to get to do the love part, if you will.
That is beautiful. Wow, I'm thank you so much for doing this. Like I'm just learning so much, and like, that, like that's, you feel that when you're there. You feel like, I'm going to keep circling back to the vibe and the energy and the culture. Like when I first found this location here in Suffern, because the music store that I was operating out of was closing that location. I was like, oh my gosh, in like a week I had to find a spot, and I found it here, and I grew up in Suffern, so this is, my town. It was so conscious of me that I wanted to make it a place where people felt comfortable to hang out, and kids could be themselves, and grownups could try to achieve something that they never thought they could. A lot of people, I wanted to when I was a kid, but now it's too late. It's never too late. And COVID sort of robbed us here of that culture, where you would have someone come in at 4 o'clock for the guitar lesson, and all of a sudden it's 9:30 and mom's picking them up, and they've been hanging out in the front watching concert DVDs and popping into other people's lessons. And hearing someone else, it's different, but it's the same in a way, where you're just using your business as a way to give back and share this and kind of pay it forward. So I'm all about that. That's really great. And thank you.
I was going to say, I came during the street fair. I think I spent more time up at your shop than I actually spent down at ours, because there's so, I mean, what you had up there it's phenomenal. And I just kept running up to see who was playing, and so
Thank you.
You got it. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. That's just, again, speechless. Thank you. I think bringing that type of energy anywhere is going to make a difference, and yeah. So let's talk about COVID a bit and how that's tried to steal our energy away. So like I don't remember if I said at the beginning or I said it off camera, but watching local businesses find ways to reinvent and sustain and push through all of this, it's so incredibly inspiring. What was your COVID journey like? Like for us here, we shut down in-person lessons March 8th or 7th of last year, and we've been full virtual ever since, which was a little bit before things got super crazy. But what was it like for you, when all that hit the fan?
We closed everything down in March for at least, I don't know, 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Did have our online shop going, and we also do wholesale. So wholesale and online were still going. All of our shops were closed, and we became a fully family business with the teenage kids packaging coffee in Suffern. They would do school there, and in between, during their study halls, we would have them working, and they became our social media team, and they're 17 and 14. And then we were like, okay, what can we do next? And we really wanted to serve the community, and that's when no one wanted to go to the grocery store, and you couldn't get a slot on a delivery. So we started putting some breakfast and lunch kits together, because we could still source from our restaurant and food purveyors. So we would do, pancake breakfast, and we'd put in bacon and pancake mix and milk and eggs and all the things, toilet paper. We were giving out free toilet paper because we could get this commercial, these huge commercial rolls of toilet paper, you know, from our restaurant people. So we did that for a while. And then, you know, as time has gone on, we've learned more about COVID and how to stay safe. But, you know, we have over 30 employees who are very anxious. You know, some of our stores, you could see hundreds of people in a day, and it's very nerve-wracking. So that's been at the forefront to keep, you know, our staff and our team as safe as possible and to keep the customers as safe as possible. We don't really want to be getting into fights with people about wear a mask in the store. You know, we're not in the business of policing masks. So we made the decision to just have door service. We've expanded, you know, our delivery options. We're doing free delivery right now. And you can get everything at our door. And so we, you know, were able to do that fairly well until it got freezing cold. That wants to wait outside, you know, for your cup of coffee and an icicle. So we worked with someone to help us create outdoor spaces at all of the shops that are inviting, with heaters, and to just make it more of a comfortable spot when you are picking something up. And in Suffern, we just, you know, having your own business, and I'm sure you realize this too, like you learn so much about things you never thought you would have to learn about.
Yeah.
Right. So now I am well versed in the snow load poundage for tents and the materials. So when in the fall, most states had everybody take down their tents. But if you had certain, you know, snow load, you could keep your tent up. So we worked with someone who imported a tent from Canada.
There you go.
Those Canadians
in Canada,
snow load. Yeah.
of course, they have a high snow load. And a designer who helped us put together an inviting space that was socially distant. And it's so whimsical and so fun and just a really bright spot. And there are heaters, and it's really been successful so far.
It's beautiful. I mean, I live in Harriman, so I come down, I pass every day. Oh, it's pretty. And that's when it's cold and everything is still dismal and places are, you know, having a hard time. Seeing something like that, it's motivating, and it brightens your day. You're getting a great cup of coffee, you know, some good breakfast, and you get a beautiful space to enjoy it if you want to eat or just while you're hanging out. So that's, again, mission accomplished, you know?
Yeah, I think the whimsical part of it, I think, you know, I think a lot of, you know, there are some restaurants that are just like, they have created amazing, beautiful, elegant spaces. And I think I think we kind of, with Jody and the designer, it's like we started there and then we took it to just this, we've got to have fun. I mean, people have to smile and have fun and have levity. And I think that the space in Suffern definitely does that. And I think all of our spaces, all the shops do. I think they're super fun.
Perfect. You mentioned the online and then the wholesale side of things. So how far into this journey were you before you started to grow? I mean, your website is fantastic and you can buy stuff there. And then like, how did you get into that world? Because that's a different space. And then the sourcing and customer service and the shipping, that's a lot of hats to wear.
So and Jody, you may have wanted to start, but I jumped in first. So when we started the business, we had a little tiny online presence and just a few customers. So our online shop existed. It's been in existence since we started, but certainly with COVID, it just exploded. And I think, you know, for up until about November, we were knocking it out of the park in getting everybody their coffees. And then the post office just, they hit a rough spot. And so we hit a rough spot as well. And it was a tough 3 months, November through January, because we had people who, you know, they would write and say, I ordered coffee for a Christmas gift and it's still not here. And we sent out a lot of extra coffee, and thank God everybody, like mid-January, I think everybody got their coffee. So there were some people who just have this abundance, and, you know, they'd write back and say, my coffee finally got here. Do you want me to just send it back? And we would just say, no, just, you know,
pay it forward.
Give it to your neighbors, give it to your postman, just share it, because, we just want it. Let's just keep moving forward and not try to undo what it was. But our online customers are amazing. And then, Joe, do you want to talk about wholesale? We have some amazing partners in wholesale.
Mm-hmm. When we started, because we started this organic coffee company in the middle of Sullivan County, we didn't know what it was going to look like. So we're like, well, if no one comes to buy coffee in the store, we should try to do some wholesale, diversify. That's a business word. We're going to diversify, right? So we had this online shop, which actually worked pretty well because it was very seasonal up there. And so people from the city would come up, they had second homes, or they'd come for a holiday, and they would fall in love with the coffee and then continue to order it throughout the year. And that was always shocking to us, right, Christine? You live in the city, you live in Brooklyn, and this is your favorite coffee? You have coffee all over the place.
My favorite is the people who would leave, after Memorial Day or Labor Day, and they'd come in the shop and they'd pick up 5 bags, and I'd be like, you're okay, and they're like, I'm going back to Brooklyn. I'm going to be back for a while. I'm like, you can't swing a cat in Brooklyn without hitting a coffee roaster. They're like, yeah, but it's not like this. And it was like, okay, we're doing something right. So, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then, because we wanted to partner with a lot of the local restaurants and markets, we started a wholesale business, and that's been going really well. We have some really amazing wholesale partners in Rockland County. We're in the new RCC culinary school in
Nyack, right?
Nyack, yeah.
Market on Hudson, yeah.
Which is great. We have a new partner in Westchester County called Farmers Grind, and they're up for the best coffee shop in Westchester, like a reader's poll. So it's fun working with them. So we really get to have fun and create even different blends, like specialty blends for our wholesale accounts, which is also,
that's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's incredible. I see musicians now. A lot of bands are, as I said, musicians and coffee. I mean, we don't sleep. They're doing these signature blends for different bands. And at first I thought they were just throwing their brand on something pre-existent, because up until about 20 minutes ago, I didn't know you could literally make something unique to it. But it's just, coffee is such a universal thing that, collaborating, which my wheels are turning right now, we'll talk later. Yeah. You could do some really cool stuff with that. And it's just so you guys are killing it. That's really cool. Congrats to you.
I think one of our favorite little musician hit is so we were still like it must have been like 8-9 years ago. Fish came through and did a 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend at Bethel Woods, and we were not just the coffee house, but we were also we would just fill up people's water. So literally, we would just like they bring jugs and whatever, and we were just like the watering place. And Bethel Woods would sometimes like backstage they would give like local products, whatever, to band members. And about a couple weeks after the band left, we got a coffee order from them. They were on the road, so they ordered more Java Love on the road, and I was like,
that was like our claim to
I
fame.
was like, oh my god, Fish ordered coffee from us. That was the best. I was.
They
so
only
excited.
ordered it once, but that was enough.
I didn't care. Yeah,
Trey wanted your coffee. You're winning.
yeah. I was like, oh, this is the best. This is so cool.
Wow. You guys are rock stars. You're
Yeah.
rock stars.
Coffee rock stars, yes.
We're rock roasters.
I like that, rock roasters. Let me see here. I have one more question, and I don't know how to phrase the question. So, and it's coffee preparation. Again, going down my over-analytical nerdy place. So, if you're making coffee at home, a lot of people crap on the Keurig machines and then the French press, and now I see people are doing it with the filter and then they drip the water on top. Mm-hmm. Versus like when espresso, like what if I'm drinking it, what makes it different through the variety of preparational styles? If preparational, I don't know if that's a word, but go with it.
It is now.
Okay.
It's what you like. It's what tastes good to you. And I think there are some hoity people who will be like, oh, well, you have to, it's like, no, whatever's best, for you and however you like it. I think it starts with having fresh coffee. So freshly roasted coffee. If you're buying,
should you be grinding it right before you make it, or is it okay to have it?
That's going to be a little more flavor forward and give you more flavor to the coffee. When you grind it, it ages a little quicker. But if you're buying coffee that is freshly roasted, it's not going to degrade that fast. So, and a Keurig, that's fine. They have the little refillable, you can put your own coffee in and put it in the Keurig machine. That's the best way to do it, because that, again, you're getting fresh coffee. And if you're buying the little cups, God knows how long it's been in those things, so it's pretty old. And then it's all about a French press makes it's really bold, flavor forward brew, because it's in there. It's the grinds are sitting with the water and it's extracting all the flavor. Whereas a pour over, it's in there with the grinds a very little amount of time, so it's a little cleaner and crisper. So there's a whole range, I just think the most important thing is just start with fresh coffee, freshly roasted coffee, and you're not going to go wrong. And experiment. I mean, have fun with it. If you like a medium roast coffee, you like it kind of sweet and laid back, ask one of our baristas, or ask, wherever you are, ask somebody, say, I like this. Is there something else I could try?
And sometimes people will come in and say, it just doesn't taste the same as it does in the shop. So it's important to have the right grind size for the type of brewing that you're doing, and a healthy heat on your water or the coffee won't extract properly.
Oh, so the temperature of the water is a factor as well?
Yeah, there's most coffee makers like the Mr. Coffee in those. The heating, the water should be at about 200 to 205 degrees. Most of those don't even quite get up to 200, so your coffee is going to taste a little flat, like it's not pulling enough flavor out of the coffee if the water doesn't get hot enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super informative. I'm telling you, people are going to watch this and there's so much to unpack in this. This is awesome.
We'll come back again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, my wheels are turning for something else. I have an idea.
Okay.
But those are my questions for now. So, I mean, thank you so much. When I repost this, I will put the links to your website.
Thank you.
Suffern, for people local, but people are watching this all around, so they can buy. Anyone who watches this, you can buy the coffee anywhere in the country, I would imagine, through the website.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
taste what they're talking about. This sounds some cool stuff. Get that with a badass brew. That's the one, I think. So
That's the one. There you go.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Rob, thank you so much, and thank you for not making us sing or play an instrument.
And next time we'll bring our instruments.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean ukulele.
But I need lessons. So
well, I got a guy who can do lessons, but even better
Okay.
yet, what you can do is post-COVID, we can come hang out at one of our places after hours, bring some coffee, bring some wine, bring some instruments, have a good time.
love that.
Sounds like a plan.
Great.
Rob,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Stay
Seriously.
healthy.
Stay safe. You as well. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.